All right, good morning. Welcome back. Happy Thursday to day 4, block day. Today's agenda, this is what we got to get done today. I have a couple of announcements again. Today, you're actually going to be starting chapter 1 in our syllabus for your 10-year plan. Now, there is a workbook that does go along with this course. I'm not requiring you to complete and turn in the workbook. If we were in class, then I would be doing weekly workbook checks, but it's just too much of a hassle for you to take pictures, send it in. Some of you have cell phones, some of you don't. So I'm supposed to be on this page, sorry. So what we're going to do is I'm going to require just my 10-year plan, the online website. You will still get the workbook, and you're more than welcome to use it as a rough draft, because whatever you put in the workbook, it mimics exactly what's in my 10-year plan. So like me, I'm still old school. I like to read books, like physical books. I still like to write down stuff with pen and paper. And then after, so like when I'm writing essays or what have you, I write it down first and then I type it. So if that's how you work, that's cool. If not, you can just hang on to the workbook. You don't have to fill it out. But they are planning on distributing those to you guys next week. More information will come as soon as I figure that out. I will let you know. Just check your emails for that. So your first assignment that you're going to get through, it looks like this. It's a Google Doc that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. What you're going to do is fill out, there's 20 words for each chapter. So you'll get a vocabulary list at the beginning of every chapter, 20 words. What you'll do is Google the definition, and then you'll type the definition in here. Please do not copy and paste from Google. I want you to actually type it out. Why? Because it helps you remember and understand what the definition is, just like writing it out does. Typing it does. If you just copy and paste, you don't even know what you just put there. You're not going to know what the word means, because you will have a vocabulary quiz at the end of the chapter. So the directions are: fill in the definitions for each vocabulary word listed below. Make sure it is the correct definition that relates to this class. So as you've probably noticed, when you Google a definition, it'll come up with like a bunch of different ones if the word has multiple definitions. Make sure you read it and pick the one that actually makes sense for this class. Remember, this is career success. We're talking about your future, jobs, careers, college, technical school, stuff like that. So if it says something that has absolutely nothing to do with that, it's probably not the right definition to type in there. So this is what it looks like. And I'm going to post it in Google Classroom for you in just 1 second. No, Nicole, wait till I'm done. After you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and get started in chapter 1. So you're going to go over to my10yearplan.com. You're going to sign in. I am going to still be in here. So if you have any issues with your login information, then you can let me know so I can get your passwords and everything reset and we can get you signed in. Hopefully you saved your login info from the first time that we tried it last week. If you didn't, that's okay. Try to save it this time. So we're starting with unit 1, which is who am I? So you're going to be completing activities that help you get to know yourself on a little bit deeper level and kind of think about who you are. Sometimes we think about it, but this is more like exercises to get more in depth, because we want to start thinking about like your likes, your hobbies, what you don't like. So that way, as we progress through the class, you can start narrowing down like maybe a career or a job that you're interested in. And typically we want to try to work in things that we like, because if you work in a job that you don't like, you're not going to like it. Your life's going to suck. So chapter 1 is envisioning your future. So we're going to start thinking about what your future looks like. It's kind of hard to think about 10 years ahead of time. If you try to do that right now, it's probably like, what, 10 years? That's a long time from now. 10 years from now, most of you will be what, 23, 24? And that's hard to think about, like, oh my gosh, you'll be in your 20s. But we want to start thinking about, well, at that time, am I still going to be in college? If you're going to college, am I already going to start working? What is that work going to look like? Will I have started a family? Am I going to be married? Will I have kids? Am I going to be single? Am I still living in Wasco? Am I living with my parents? All these things that we're going to talk about. So when you log into your My 10-Year Plan, you'll notice that chapter 1 has several activities. You don't have to do all of them. You only need to do this list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 activities. I think there's 8 and you only have to do 6 of them. So I'm going to log in and show you that real quick. So remember, it's my10yearplan.com. And if it looks like this, you came to the right place. You'll click on the top right where it says sign in. It should pop up this menu. And if you already click save your password and information, then it should already have it pre-filled. If it didn't, you need to type it in and make sure you type in your entire email address. And your password is your long ID number starting with 300. If it gives you an error, you need to go back and check the spelling and type in the number very carefully. And click sign in, and then it should, if it's your first time signing in or saving, it should ask you, do you want to save your password? I would click yes, so you don't have to do it every single time. All right, so when you sign in, remember, it should look like this, and it shows your progress. So you should have already completed the introduction. If you haven't finished your pre-survey yet, please do that. It's only 6 questions. You'll click next. If you haven't watched the intro video from Dane, please go ahead and do that. It's 5 minutes long. But here is chapter 1. So remember, on the left is always your navigation bar, and you can maximize it or minimize it by hitting the little, I don't know what you want to call that, a hamburger, flapjack stack, fat snowman. I don't know what you want to call that. But if you click on it, it'll bring the menu out or close the menu. Okay. So you'll watch the intro video from Dane. I'm not going to put it on for you because I notice it is really laggy when I play videos for you through my presentation. So you'll watch, it's only 2.5 minutes long. He's going to introduce the chapter for you, and then you have your list here. So remember, you're not doing every single one of these activities. You're only doing the list that I provided you, and I'll leave that up for you while you're working. So all of them will have directions at the top. Make sure you read them carefully. It tells you exactly what to do. So like on this one, why people work, it's asking you to number these statements from 1 through 6. With 1 being the way that you resonate most with your feelings about work, and 6 being what you find least matches your personal drives. Yours 5 minute long? Okay, sorry. So then it's 5 minutes long. I apologize. Mine must be like the older version. And so you'll do that. Then make sure whenever you complete it, you want me to grade it, you'll click finished at the bottom. If you don't click finish, then it's going to show in progress, and I don't know if it's ready to be graded. So once you click finish, you'll click next, and I know I can grade that section. So you'll go ahead and go through and work through these pages. Now this one is a funky one. When you click on think about it, meaning of success, it's going to automatically close this menu. Don't freak out. And then you'll go through and answer these questions. And then you'll click on next, and it'll take you back to the menu. So don't freak out on the think about me. You do not have to do the checkpoint, so don't worry about that. Remember, anytime it has a box where you're typing, you need to type in complete sentences. If you have not downloaded the Grammarly extension, I suggest you download that because it'll automatically check for your grammar. It'll check for spelling. It'll fix your sentences. It's just a helpful tool to have, and you know it's working if it has that little green symbol right here in the bottom corner. So make sure whenever you're typing here in the boxes that you are answering all the questions that are here and following the prompt. So it's asking you, which decision-making patterns do you use most often? You don't have to do this one, but I'm just giving you an example. You would answer that question, and then it says explain. Make sure you actually explain why. But you are not doing this one. No, you're not doing this one. And then definition of success, you'll notice sometimes the words are like highlighted in green. If you hold your mouse over it, it'll give you the definition of that word. Now I know my mouse cursor is blocking the definition, but hopefully yours is not blocking it. So if you get stuck on a word, you can either Google it, or if it's green, you can hover over it and it'll tell you the definition. That is what we are working on for today. So this is the way that the class structure is going to work. So I will give you the assignments. I'm going to stay here live in the class. You can stay in here too, or you can exit and come back as you need to for help. So I'm available here to answer questions. I'm here to help you work through your problems, for your schoolwork, to troubleshoot anything. Like I already noticed some people said that they're having issues logging in. So I can go ahead and help you with that. We can get a little bit more one-on-one help. Okay, so I just posted the vocabulary in Google Classroom. You may have to exit the tab and come back or hit refresh for it to show up. So go ahead and start with the vocabulary, and then you'll go into my 10-year plan when you're done and start on chapter 1. If you get stuck at any point, remember I'm here to help you. I'm going to start helping the people who need login assistance, and I'm going to display on the screen the list of the assignments that you need to complete for chapter 1, because remember, you're not doing all of them, you're only doing some of them. When you guys finish your vocabulary, go ahead and submit it in Google Classroom when you're ready, and then move on to the My 10-Year Plan activities. So in case you guys are confused, on the screen, I'm showing you a list of the activities you need to complete in My 10-Year Plan, and I will post this in Google Classroom for you. You only have to do envisioning your future, why people work, everybody works, defining success, think about it, and definition of success. So when you are in my 10-year plan, which I'm going to share with you right now, the tabs, you can see what I'm talking about. But when you see this panel right here, this menu, you're going to click on chapter 1. You're going to watch the heads up from Dane. And then you're only going to do the titles of the ones that I had listed. You're not doing all of these activities. There's more than what I have listed. Like you're not doing the first one, vision and energy. Don't do that one. You're not doing decision-making patterns, and you're not doing the checkpoints. Does that make sense, Renee? And when you're ready to do them, you just click on it and it'll open it here. And then you start typing your information, and then make sure you click finish to let me know that it's ready to be graded. Okay, so we are now into the last 20 minutes of class, which is for extra help. So if you need help with anything, you're more than welcome to stay in here just in case you need help. Otherwise, you are good to go, and I will see you on Monday.
Miss Joanne,
Yeah, go ahead, Lupe.
is there any way that they can do the Flipgrid on their phone?
Yes, there's a Flipgrid app that they can download, and the link that I posted in Google Classroom, that last part that has the number, that's the code to get in.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you.
No problem. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to back up and start from the beginning. So if everyone wants to come back to the tab, I'm going to explain the activity Everybody Works. So if you want to hear an explanation on it and follow along, you can come back to this tab. So for Everybody Works, it wants you to start thinking about a job. Now, some of you might work, some of you might not. So it wants you to think about a typical working day. So like if you don't work, think about the jobs, quote unquote, jobs that you have. For instance, you're a son or a daughter. So you have chores, right? That's your work. You're a student. So your work is doing like your schoolwork and other stuff. Maybe you're in a relationship. So being a boyfriend or girlfriend, that's your job because you also have work for that. So there's a number of jobs that you can technically, quote unquote, have right now. So on the first box, it says, think about a typical working day, one in which you spent time on most of your jobs. List the tasks and activities you perform below. Make your list as complete as you can. So I'm just going to go with student because you're all students. Even if you work or in a relationship, you're all students. So in a typical working day, in a typical school day, what are the jobs or the things that you do? So I'm going to say in a typical day, I complete class assignments, homework assignments, organize my due dates, organize my schedule, arrive to class on time, check my email, which you should be doing, check my classroom announcements, what do you think of other things that you do as a student, etc. And participate in group work. There's probably more if you can think of more. Bam, done. Okay, so then the next one says, based on this list, how would you define your jobs? Write your titles on the following lines. Okay, well, on here, if you complete assignments, you are a organize my due dates, organize my schedule. So you could be like a personal assistant because that's what personal assistants do. They schedule appointments, tasks, and stuff for people. Well, yeah, a personal assistant. I am a participate in group work, team member because you participate in group work. I'm trying to think what else you could put on there. Laborer, et cetera, et cetera. So you're listing out like actual jobs titles that would go with the tasks that you do on there. It just depends on what list you use. Okay. Next section, what would be your accomplishments at the end of the day? So like what have you completed at the end of the day? List them below. Okay. My accomplishments would be completed assignments, no homework, perfect attendance, no tardies, et cetera, et cetera. Which of those accomplishments are most satisfying to you? So like what makes you feel satisfied? What makes you happy about those things? So maybe you like that you have no tardies. Maybe you're proud that you have perfect attendance. Or maybe you're proud that you have no homework. So like you could just chill the rest of the day or whatever it might be. So you'll say the most satisfying accomplishment is blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then how do they make you feel about yourself? This is where Priscilla asked. They is the accomplishment. So it's asking you when you have all these things done, how does it make you feel about yourself? So maybe you can put on there like it makes me feel good because I have free time after school to do what I want. Or you can say, it makes me feel proud. Let me get rid of this sticky note. Because I have completed everything, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the end, it says, do your feelings relate to any of the reasons people work listed on pages 15, 16 in the career choices? Here we go. Okay, so why people work. So I'm just going to list them out for you real quick. And then what I'll do is I'll take a picture of the textbook and I'll post it in Google Classroom for you, which is funny because nobody in first period asked me for this. Why people work. People work for survival. So that means literally bringing home the bacon. People work for money, which means to fulfill the basic needs. Okay, so that's one reason. The next reason is people work to define themselves. So people work to, it says to have more accomplishments to make them feel more real. For example, when you ask people like who they are, they tend to say what their job is. So like if you ask me, who am I as a person? I would say I am a teacher. So people work to define themselves. The next reason, people work to have a sense of security. So many people find it difficult to get all of the love or approval they need from their relationships with friends and family. For them, work can be a constant source of security and pleasure. They may not know what kind of mood they will find their spouse in on any given night, but they can be fairly certain that their work will be the same. Okay, and the next one is people work for self-respect or to feel competent and powerful. Some people will always be more powerful than you. Discrimination based on sex or race is real and robs its victims of the feeling that they can direct the course of their lives. Doing a particular good job will give a worker a sense of control and responsibility that adds greatly to his or her self-respect. The next reason, people work to conquer time. We are aware from an early age that our time on Earth is limited. The days that pass simply vanish. One way we can conquer time is to fill each day with achievements or accomplishments. Okay, and the last one is people work to measure their self-worth. Working is one way of keeping score, of seeing how we stack up in comparison to others. Who is the most accomplished, who got the award or promotion, who earned the respect of the group, who makes the most money. These are all ways we use to measure our self-worth. So if I went too fast or you can't remember all the reasons, just give me like 2 minutes to take photos, crop it, and post it in Google Classroom under resources for you for chapter 1. And then you'll see those reasons listed, and that's what goes in the bottom one. So what you'll do is the feelings that you just put on there, do any of those relate to those reasons I just went over? And which ones? So you'll say like, yes, it relates to the reason people work to measure their self-worth. And then if there's any other ones, then you would just put and blah, blah, blah. Does that make more sense? I will post that photo here in a second after I explain the next one, why people work. Okay, so the activity before it, why people work. Okay, so I know this one says like for more information, look at your textbook, but you don't really need the textbook for this one. So I'm going to read to you the directions. People work for many reasons, but basically they work to bring personal meaning and satisfaction to themselves as well as benefits to society. All human beings have a need to work, to do, and to become someone through the process. According to Dr. Kenneth B. Hoyt, known as the father of career education, we work to discover both who we are and why we are. What are your motivations? Why do you work? Prioritize these statements by placing a 1 in the box next to the statement that resonates most with your feelings about work. Continue to score each item, with 6 being what you find least matches your personal drives. The basic understanding of why you work and what it brings to you may help you later as you narrow your career choices. Okay, so you have 6 choices here. You're going to number them in order of importance from 1 to 6. What is the most important to the least important? So the first one says, of course, people also work for survival. People work to define themselves. People work to have a sense of security and a defined security for you. People work for self-respect or to feel competent and powerful. People work to conquer time. People work to measure their self-worth. So you're going to pick the most important one that you resonates with you, or that you feel would be the most important to you, and put a 1 next to it. So for me, people work to define themselves would be 1. The next important one I would say would be survival, and then security, because you have to have money to pay for things. Work to measure their self-worth, I'd say would 4, 5, and 6. There you go. That's how you do it. So you just rank it. Don't copy mine. You're just ranking it in order of important to least important according to you and what you believe. And I will be in here until 10:20 to help anybody who needs help. And of course, my office hours from 2:10 to 3:10.